All right, good morning, folks. Hope y'all doing well today. Kind of had this on the wrong screen right here, but here we go. This is today is Wednesday, the 8th of October. Pretty early this morning, trying to get a forecast out. Believe it or not, it takes 2.5 hours to do all this, usually every day. So a lot of editing involved and other things. Yesterday, I ran into some technical difficulties, so it took me even longer to get it out there. But anyway, um, happy hump day. So we have Jerry out here, which is forecast to generally move in this direction. And we have a disturbance in the um, Gulf of Mexico. All right, the southern Gulf here, Bay Campeche, however you want to say it. Jerry has been struggling overnight with some westerly shear, and partially because of his fast movement to the west here, uh, even with a relatively light westerly wind, um, well, even moderate shear. I mean, you're moving like 20, 30 knots this way, you have 10 knots of flow this way. Um, that's a fair amount of shear for a developing cyclone to contend with. And you can make out, well, I'll look at it closer here. I'll zoom into both these areas in a minute. Let's go to the long wave infrared. This is the mid-level water vapor, right? You can almost make out the low-level circulation just on the north here. And it looked a lot more organized. It's like the low-level flow is kind of pushing it this way. You have some winds going this way, right? I wouldn't be surprised we get a depression or something forming here um, today or tonight. We'll just have to see what happens. So we zoom into Jerry real quickly here. You see what I'm talking about here. Most of the convection is to the south of where this circulation, the level of circulation is. Maybe we can see it better with low level water vapor. Lots of dry air in the northern side of it, right? And if we look at the simple water vapor, you really can't tell too much, but like, let's see, true color, you can see right here, it's kind of elongated too. However, I wouldn't, if the convection can refire here on the southern side, it's possible that the circulation may be pulled back into the convective mass and maybe reform further south. We'll just have to see what happens here. Um, Going back to the Gulf of Mexico, Bay Campeche. Let's look at that real quick. A lot of activity in the Gulf right now. Bay Campeche here. However, just trying to make out whether there's, I can't really make out. It looks like to me that most of the activity is on shore or close to shoreline. So we'll have to see if we get anything develop here. Either way, it's part of a larger circulation. And if we zoom out a little bit, you kind of make that out here. Let me see if I can get this back out. You have disturbed weather on the other side in the East Pacific as well. Either way, there's heavy rain going on in these areas here. And you can see up in the continental US what we got going on here. um, kind of this blocking pattern, if you will. And we have this general flow going this way. And we may have high pressure. Try to steer, if this system can make it up this far, try to steer it this way, but likely a trough will be building in this way. And we'll, whatever Jerry is at that time will likely move in this general area. However, some of the models indicate that I think it's depending on how strong this is and where the center stays, or maybe if it reforms further south. However, it's still pretty low latitude right here. So we'll just have to see what happens. I know I said that yesterday, but it looked much more impressive yesterday. So let's move on to the National Hurricane Center update, 2 a.m. Here's the advisory for Jerry, moving to the west-northwest at 23 miles per hour, max sustained winds 50 miles per hour, and this disturbance forecast to only 10% of chance of development, um, and forecast to move onshore either tonight or tomorrow morning. And now if we look at very quickly, the shear and stuff involved, the shear involved with this cyclone or Jerry, right? You have mid shear, which doesn't overall seem that bad, right? But deep shear from the west, okay, and so the circulation is moving to the east or to the west. The shear is from the west, right? And so, um, you know, it would seem that it's in a favorable environment, but it's fast speed again right now with a low level easterlies is shearing it to the north here. Okay. One other thing to look at here is convergence at the surface. You see that the surface convergence is further to the south, and divergence aloft is displaced from where the convergence is, and then your vortex is further north here, right? So these aren't well aligned, and that tells me the circulation is not that organized. If we can get these closer to each other, although the divergence, let's see, divergence, the vorticity is really strong right here. Low vorticity. The divergence aloft is displaced to the southeast, right? And you have convergence at the surface, which is pretty close to where the divergence, the vorticity is. But when you have divergence aloft, displaced this way to the south, it's not optimal for strengthening. Okay, still forecast to become a Category 1 hurricane somewhere here on the north of Lesser Antilles. So this is all the model guidance associated with it. I'm going to use Tilmer Berg's website today. This is just a wide view of the all the tropics. You have Jerry out here, tropical storm. You have Priscilla, octave, and you have another disturbance off the East Pacific, Mexican coast. 80% chance of development. So pretty good chance of development there. This is the latest track information from Jerry. Tropical storm right here. 45 knot, 1003 millibar tropical storm. Current intensity, like I said, 50 miles per hour. This is the official National Hurricane Center track. Brings it very close to the Lesser Antilles and Bermuda up here. The forecast become 100 mile per hour hurricane at this point, but it remains to be seen how this, if it holds together or not when it moves into even more hostile conditions up here. Okay. Although if there's a favorable trough interaction, it may help it intensify. We'll just have to see. This is Tropical Storm Jerry multi-model ensemble guidance, EPS, GFS, CMC, all three. Um, this is as of yesterday. It's the most recent super ensemble that I have here. So it's further west than this, but you get the general idea where they all these different ensembles, the thinking at this point where it was, where it would be going. Now we drill down to the deterministic model tracks, National Hurricane Center compared to the Deep Mind. National Hurricane Center has been talking about, they've been following the Deep Mind pretty closely because it's been really reliable this year, and I agree with that. You can see National Hurricane Center track compared to the Deep Mind, very close to what the Deep Mind is thinking. And there's Bermuda, there's the Caribbean, the northern Western Antilles. Too close for comfort right there. So these are the different deterministic model tracks. You have CMC, half A, half B. The hurricane models are on the mostly on the left side of the envelope, whereas most of the global models are on the right side. There's some kind of bias going on there. I don't think the HMON is, although the HMON tends to be show a less vertically coherent system, so that may be why, because the low level flow will push it further to the west than if it gets caught in the westerlies sooner. As we all know, if it's not a vertically coherent system, the westerlies, it doesn't tend to be pulled into the westerlies as easily. It follows a low level flow instead. So that may be the reason why the HMON is further to the west there. Looking at the European track density here, almost every 51 members, this is as of 1800 yesterday. We're taking it to the north of the Lesser Antilles. And the black line is the ensemble means with the European operational run close to it there. This is all the members and the pressures here. This is the average pressure, right? The darker colors indicate stronger, magenta even stronger. A hodgepodge of different strengths here, right? But all way to the east of Bermuda. And doesn't look like any have direct impacts on the Lesser Antilles. Also, some get close there. As far as the GFS ensemble track density, same thing. But if you compare it to the EPS, it's definitely further to the west. However, it's initialized a lot sooner, so like closer to current time. So that may be why, because maybe Jerry is moving to the further to the west than initialized with the European. We'll just have to keep an eye on that. GFS ensemble members. Some want to get pretty strong up here. I don't think this is realistic, becoming 940 millibars up here in the North Atlantic, but overall, I want to keep it maybe low end Cat 1 hurricane on average, right? The greens are less intense, the reds, magenta more intense, right? And these are all the different members, right? This is the GPS or CMC ensemble member output, initialized 00Z 8 October. Very similar to the European, right? With a few members getting close to the Lesser Antilles and none even close to the Bermuda there. CMC ensembles. I have to check how many members there are, but uh, none really, except for a few, we want to intensify it at all. Okay. Um, and a lot of the weaker members here want to move it over the Lesser Antilles here as a weak tropical storm, maybe. All right. Google DeepMind. Um, this is as of 00Z today. It initialized, and it's further to the west here initially, and maybe brushing the Lesser Antilles, okay? But clearly to the east of Bermuda. Google DeepMind ensembles, quite a few members here. And quite a few want to intensify it, and there's a few that go way out to the west here. I don't think that's realistic, and we should go based on, the ensemble means here. Maybe bring it to a Cat 1 hurricane here to the southeast of Bermuda. Uh, Either way, though, it's pretty close here to Lesser Antilles. This is probably the closest as far as all the models that I've looked at. Okay. This is the European APHIS ensemble output. This is the EuroAI, right? And with the intensities, doesn't really want to intensify it much. Maybe a few millibars, becoming a little bit stronger tropical storm, right? But none of the AI members intensify more than that. And most of them keep it to the north of Lesser Antilles, and virtually all of them keep it to the east of Bermuda. This is another, I never heard of this model before, but it's a NOAA Eagle, which is like, I guess, one of their AI models. I decided to throw it up here. It's squarely recurving way out here and pretty tightly clustered here until we get to the Lesser Antilles here, and pretty close, right? Maybe a little bit stronger tropical storm, but some of the members do intensify it. So there's still a lot of uncertainty with that. The National Hurricane Center update for Jerry, still 15-mile-per-hour tropical storm moving to west-northwest at 23 miles an hour. No change there, really. We didn't expect any. And this is the updated global hazards outlook for week 2 and 3, 15th through 21st. You see where the most highlighted development areas are in the Gulf of Mexico, Eastern Pacific, with the main MDR, Western Main Development Region, with a striped outlook is 20% chance of development and 40% in the Gulf along the Eastern Pacific, along Mexico. And we get towards the end of October. This favors climatology as well. Development chances generally just in the Gulf of Mexico, Western Caribbean, and the Eastern Pacific. Um, so, moving on to the national radar with the the mid-level water vapor loop. You can see generally a west-east flow here with enhanced moisture all the way up into the northeast and mid-Atlantic. Heavy rain going on right now in these areas. My pen isn't working here. I can't draw again. Isn't that nice? But general west-east flow here. Okay, hope you can see my cursor. Let me try this. Can't see that either. Uh, anyway, you see the west-east flow here. All right. Um, and so, what does the excessive rainfall look like? Let's take a look. Get this off the screen. Satellite off the screen. All right. Sorry about that. Well, excessive rainfall only projected till this is till 12Z today in the desert southwest for heavy rainfall. All right, and then for uh, from 12Z today till 12Z tomorrow, desert southwest, parts of California, Utah, likely moisture from Priscilla moving up here, and the make sure I'm recording here. East coast of Florida. All right, day 3. Still enhanced slight risk here in the desert southwest, parts of Colorado, Arizona. And then you see the enhanced rainfall chances along the southeast coastline here. They move closer where the storm is developing off the east coast. You can see the slight risk right along Virginia, North Carolina border here, marginal risk, southeast coast. Again, slight risk for excessive rainfall here in the desert southwest, moving up into Wyoming, Colorado. And again, along the mid-Atlantic coast for day 5, which would be Sunday. Is it Friday? Yeah, Sunday. So you see where the slight risk and marginal risks are for excessive rainfall, severe weather. I'll tell you what. Let's go to the daily precip totals. Although we have a lot of rain going on right here in the northeast, not really projecting too much more rain the rest of the day. This should sweep out pretty quickly. All right. Desert southwest and northwest here. You can see where the most rainfall is expected along to this path where the Priscilla's moisture is going, and along a boundary here, South Carolina, and along the coast of Florida, along the northwest coastline. You see this bullseye right off the South Carolina coast here for day 3. And you have these blues and off the coast here. And this doesn't seem like a lot here, but because you're seeing flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a point. So out here, that doesn't take a lot to lead to flooding in a short period of time. So that's for the rainfall totals. Let's look at severe weather. General thunderstorms, day 1. General thunderstorms in these areas for day 2. General thunderstorms in these areas for day 3. So not any major severe weather expected for those days. So what are the temperatures going to look like the coming days? This is the high temps ending today at 8 p.m. Go through Thursday. Right, cooling off, likely due to enhanced moisture here in the south. warming up in the middle part of the country. But as you see towards the end of the period, that warmth really stays entrenched here along the deep south, parts of the Midwest, Ohio Valley, Central Plains, and Desert Southwest. Otherwise, it stays pretty nice, really, 70s, 60s. Okay. As far as low temps go, let's go back here. Below freezing up here in the upper Midwest, right? And then the inner Mountain West. Sorry for clearing my throat. My sinuses, as you can tell, are not doing good today. Quite cold up here Friday night here in the Northeast and the northern high plains, uh, in the Mountain West. Warming up in the central part of the country overnight. Still quite cold in the Northeast. It's staying quite cold in the Northeast at night and into the Mountain West. Another shot of cold air coming through there. And we'll talk about what's driving that in a minute or two here. And we get to the end of the period. As we talked about, the higher temps and the lower and the minimum temps are gonna be about the same. Like you have higher temps in the day, warmer more moisture here, and higher temps at night. Quite cold in the Mountain West here up into extreme northern part of the U.S. Below freezing. So, and into Maine as well. Even into Georgia in the 50s. So I'll take that. So we have this potential northeaster or the mid-Atlantic system that we've been talking about. I want to go over to compare the model guidance again today. I think we can get into more specifics about rainfall totals, wind, things like that tomorrow. All right, because we have 3 or 4 days till it makes, well, it'll start developing. You get through time here, and I'll show you. Um, this initializes 0Z today, and this is sorry, 10 October, right? You can see, oops, this isn't very good. Okay, 13 October. The European, see if I can draw on this. No, you can see my cursor, I hope. The European is showing a low off the coast here. And you can see the GFS is a little further north with this system. And you can see Jerry out here, okay? And at this point, they're relatively similar solutions, but the more northern, of course, solution with the GFS could lead to more rain further north. So we need to keep an eye on that. And as we go further in time here, you see what's driving it. We have this, this is a mid-level geopotential height. From the European, you see it's further south, right? And you have the 500, the mid-level low further north with the GFS. And these systems are almost vertically stacked between the surface and the at this point in the 500 millibar, right? I'll go through time here. See what happens with the surface low with the Euro and the GFS. So pretty much similar. They both move out to sea now, but the Euro wants to swing it back around up to the north because there's another lobe of 500 millibar a mid-level feature that moves through the flow and picks that low up and tries to swing it back around. Okay, different than the GFS here, where it it kind of swings that lobe of energy through the flow and pushes this out to sea. I tend to say with the GFS, it's a more reliable model, but that remains to be seen how this evolves. But that being said, there's more confidence. There's going to be a coastal low for sure, but the direct impacts specifics are hard to nail down just yet. But initially, depending on where the low forms, get a lot of rainfall and wind along the coast here. All right. Sorry, my pen doesn't work. Hope you can see my cursor. But um, that's all I got for today, guys. Hope you all have a great day and God bless.